cabinet who will be here for another 2 days. All the best in your engagements. Thank you.
Thank you, Kimani. Your Excellency, the President and the leader of our party, the Deputy President of the Republic, colleague legislators, members of Cabinet, and I guess everyone who's here, I greet you all good morning. Good morning once again. Well, I never tire, Your Excellency, to say how much it's a privilege for us to come together, especially those of us that are in Parliament, and we know the journey that we have walked, to get this opportunity to interact and reflect on our journey this far, share what our views are, the challenges that we are facing, and how we can forge ahead to achieve the objectives that we set out for ourselves when we went out and spoke to the people of Kenya. Therefore, Your Excellency, allow me to appreciate this opportunity on behalf of the members of the Senate to interact with you and the members of the executive to share ideas and also just give an update of our work in Parliament, what is before us, the challenges that we're experiencing, and then forge ahead together as one united team. At the Senate, Your Excellency, we have had also a busy season the last few months, just before we went on recess. If you'll recall, members, actually, it was on account of business before the Senate that we had to stop the last PG, and we had interacted and reached a point where members were just about to make their remarks on various issues. But then because of the pending legislative work that was before us, we stopped and agreed to reconvene again. We're glad to be back here. At the Senate, Your Excellency, we have considered quite a significant number of bills that are key to the promises that we made to the people. And I want to take this earliest opportunity to appreciate the members of our side of the House who have all been extremely supportive. And at the times when we needed them, at least 90 to 99% have showed up and voted with us. It's not a very easy experience. And I say this knowing that perhaps very few people understand that remark. Perhaps only those that have served in the Senate understand the difficulty of raising the magical 24. It's never an easy business. And I am to appreciate that this present term of the Senate, members have been extremely supportive in passing business that has been forwarded to us. Quickly, Your Excellency, in the interest of time, I will mention that we are anxiously awaiting the housing bill, which the Honorable Lichungwa has spoken about. Once our colleagues in the Assembly conclude on it, we will definitely consider it. Chances are we have our slight different views on one or two issues, but as you know, we have been quite fast at agreeing and closing ranks every time us and the Assembly have a different view on any particular matter. In fact, I'm glad to report, and I appreciate our colleagues in the Assembly as well, that the 2 or 3 bills that have gone through a mediation process this time, within the first meeting, we were able to close ranks and agree, meaning those from the Assembly were able to see things from our perspective as Senate, and us were able to understand you as our colleagues from the Assembly. It's not very usual. The last 2 terms of Parliament, that never used to happen. In fact, it used to be, the meetings actually used to break down, Your Excellency, on account of who chairs. You sit down and you have the team from the Assembly, the team from the Senate. Just to agree on who leads the meeting will break that mediation process. But I'm glad and happy to report that we have come out of age as an institution and are now focused on the things that matter. Of course, we have quite a heavy program, but there are about 2 or 3 or 4 bills maximum that I just want to report, Your Excellency, that we shall be giving priority in the next few, maybe 2 or 3 weeks to conclude on, because of how key and integral they are to many of the plans that we have as an administration. The Food and Feed Safety Bill that is presently before our Agriculture Committee is in second reading, Your Excellency. And by the end of this week that you're beginning, we should be able to conclude on its third reading, because the report has been tabled and our committees have proposed their amendments to what you had done in the Assembly, Mheshimiwa Ichungwa. So I believe we should be able to declare, and I declare this in your sitting, Your Excellency, that I propose and request our colleagues 100% record that we have. There is no government bill that has come to the Senate and has been defeated on any account. We amend, that is within our mandate, and that's our business. So I expect that on this water amendment bill, and Your Excellency, you know, this is a bill that allows us to keep the promise that we made on the various water institutes that are in our counties, allowing them to enter into PPP agreements. Because as an administration, and Mheshimiwa Ichung'wah has spoken to this, you know very well that we don't have sufficient resources to roll out water programs in all our counties. And the thinking that has come from the executive, which we are at liberty to make a determination and make it better perhaps, so that it looks good and is in sync with our constitution, especially appreciating the two levels of government, should be to support this dream and this thinking that we are able to run county programs, water programs using the PPP framework. Finally, Your Excellency, are the three agriculture bills that Mheshimiwa Ichung'wah mentioned. The one on coffee, that we want to streamline and ensure that coffee has its own agency, just like we did for tea. There's an amendment on the tea bill as well that was done in 2020. His Excellency, the Deputy President, knows the number of meetings he has chaired and the proposals that you gave us when we had the meeting you chaired in Cheruiyot. We are almost concluding on that bill. And on sugar, there's a lot that you're doing in the sugar industry, Your Excellency. Our committee has agreed with virtually everything that the Assembly did, save for the zoning part. We have challenges. We appreciate and we agree with you that it is important to do zoning so that we can foster privatization. But the zoning formula that our colleagues in the Assembly took, we hold a slightly different view. We agree with the zoning that was proposed in the task force report that was done in the year 2020. And that's what we shall be proposing. Then, of course, we'll conclude. Finally, Your Excellencies, you know that little assignment that you gave us between the leader of majority in the Assembly and myself on the national dialogue. We begin that conversation today. It is important you make mention of that very difficult exercise that you gave us, because the report begins a journey tomorrow in the Senate. At 2:30, we shall begin debate. There are many things that are beneficial to us in that particular report. Therefore, I'm pitching to you that perhaps you help my members who have a very radical view on that particular report to support, and we pass it so that we do other things. Of course, the BPS is here. We know that as a Senate, we don't have an exclusive role on this budget-making process, Your Excellency, but because we are leaders, we have an opinion also. And there's something that I'd wish to share, that a concern that senators have, which we would wish to make as a request to you as a leader of the executive and as our colleagues in the Assembly as well. If you look at our counties, Your Excellency, because of many of them borrow their budgeting framework from what is done in the executive. And we have done well in managing this economy, despite all the difficult challenges that we've had. But, Your Excellency, there's something that we can improve, and we should as a team. When doing our budgets, including the BPS that has been laid, the business of setting extremely high revenue projections and budgeting on it leaves us with pending being, on-source revenue of 1 billion shillings for a county that the last financial year collected 100 million. Then they issue jobs of 900 million. What do you have? People that are despondent, they have jobs they have done, but they cannot be paid because that money is not there. That practice, they borrowed it from us in Parliament and at the county. Unfortunately, as Senate, we don't have a say in that matter, but because we are leaders, we'd wish to plead with you, the executive, and our colleagues in the National Assembly, that as you consider this year's BPS, build your budget at least on, if it is a revenue projected growth, let us be realistic. A maximum, our revenue growth doesn't go beyond 10% in a financial year. What is the wisdom? Forgive me, but I felt it is important for me to pass that point on behalf of senators. Therefore, with those very many remarks, colleague senators, allow me to take this opportunity to invite the truthful man. You know, Your Excellency, as you were walking, I was reminding, for those of us that used to come to this hotel for Tangatanga meetings, I was reminding His Excellency, the Deputy President, that his stint at being a truthful man did not begin when he became Deputy President. One evening we came here for a PG meeting. And it was those times where we used to have colleagues who would show up for Tangatanga today, the next weekend they show up in Kelewek. The DP stood in the meeting and caused chaos like you have never seen. There was one particular man, I'll not mention his name, because he's a friend to many of us. And the DP said, so long as this man is here, this meeting is not going to start. And we had a standoff for 1 hour. Fortunately, that man pleaded. He never listened to you, and in the subsequent elections, he lost. I wish he had listened to the truthful man. Today, he'd be here in this PG. With those remarks, allow me to welcome our Deputy President, His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua. A round of applause, please.